Thank you all so much for joining us today. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripātamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dīnatarinam Paramanandamādhavam Krishna Chaitanyam Ishwaram Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We are continuing the series on Srimad Valmiki Ramayana, and we are currently in Aranya Kanda. I was thinking we'll finish today, but looks like we won't. We'll have one more class on Aranya Kanda and then we will finish. It's a long series, and thank you for your patience. Kujantam Rama Rameti Maduram Maduraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakam Vande Valmiki Kokilam Valmikir Munisimhasya Kavita Vanacharinah Shrinvan Ramakathanadam Konayate Param Gatim Vedavedye Pare Pumse Jate Dasharatatmaje Veda Prachet Pasadasit Sakshat Ramayanatmana Anjananandanam Viram Janaki Shokanashanam Kabisham Akshahantaram Vande Lanka Bhayankaram Manojavam Marutatulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Vatatmajam Vanarayudamukyam Sri Ramadotam Shirasa Namami Anjaneyam Adipatanalanam Kanchanadrikkamaniya Vigraham Parijata Tarumulavasanam Bhavayami Bhavamananandanam Yatra Yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam Tatra Tatra Kritamastakāñjalim Bhashpavari Paripurna Lochanam Marutim Namata Rakshasantakam Jaitrashrata Santrasa Dhvantva Vidvamsanodayah Prabhavan Sitaya Devya Paramavyoma Bhyaskaraha. Hare Krishna. Sharing is not turned on, it says. So if the host can give me co-host, I can share. I think Indu Mataji has co-host and...
Yeah, I have co-host. You don't have co-host.
Grab the host and give me co-host if she's not around.
Okay, let me see. I don't have that option, do I?
You can't grab the...
Oh, sorry, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Kirtida Mataji, are you there?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji, it's allowed Mataji.
Okay, thank you.
Can you make Mataji also host or co-host?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Wait 1 second. Okay. So we'll have a quick recap. I'll keep it really short because we have some contents to cover today. So we started Aranya Kanda with Ram entering the Dandakaranya forest. The sages saw Lord Ramachandra and they were captivated by his beauty. And they went and surrendered unto the Lord. And eventually Ramachandra met this very ferocious demon by the name Virada, who took away Sita. And then they successfully conquered Virada. They chopped off his limbs and they buried him as per his instructions, in the sense that he said he cannot be killed by any weapon. The only way to kill him was burying him. So they buried Virada, and hence Virada was killed. Then Lord Ramachandra moved on and he went to the ashram of Sharabhanga. And while he was nearing the ashram of Sharabhanga, he saw Lord Indra was at the entrance. He had come with his famous chariot and horses. And Indra wanted to invite Sharabhanga and also later Sutikshana to go to Satyaloka, but both of them refused the offer, and they said they were there to only serve Lord Ram. Then Ramachandra, he promises this further sages come and they surrender unto Ram, and Ram promises that he will give them protection and he will take care of all the demons. Meanwhile, when they proceed into the forest, Sita gives an advice to Ram, telling him to give up his weapons, and she tells a short story. But then Ram explains that he will never ever give up on his devotee who has surrendered. So he says, I might give up my life, I might give up you, I might even give up Lakshman, but I will never ever give up a devotee who surrendered unto me. And they moved on into the forest, and they also heard about the sage by the name Mandakarni, who was actually stuck by the process of Sakama Karma Yoga, and he couldn't proceed further, in contrast with the sages like Sutikshana and Sharabhanga. Then the Lord desired to see Sage Agastya, and we heard some short stories about Sage Agastya. And before he goes to Sage Agastya's ashram, he makes a small pit stop at Sudarshana's ashram, who's the brother of Sage Agastya. And then Agastya gives him the Vishnu Dhanush and directs him to go to Panchavati. So they decide to stay there. And while going there, they see Jatayu. Jatayu tells his family history and he says he would like to accompany them. So he offers help. Ramachandra tells Lakshman to build a cottage so that they can stay in that cottage. And Ram appreciates the beautiful handwork of Lakshman. There is a description of the Hemanta Ritu. The reason this description comes here is to just tell us the austerities that Bharata was performing, and also Lord Ramchandra, Lakshman, and Sita Devi in the forest. And time passes, and again it was back to Chaitra Mas. One day, Shurpanaka entered, and we all know the story of Shurpanaka. As she was shuttled between Ram and Lakshman, eventually she decides to devour Sita Devi and she's ready to pounce on Sita. And that is when Ramachandra, he indicates to Lakshman that she has to be punished, and eventually her nose and ears are chopped off. So she goes, and she complains to the 14,000 soldiers in Janastan. Initially, 14 soldiers are sent to attack Ram, and 14 of them are killed. Then 14,000 go, and there is a very terrible war that ensues. And there was one Ram, but it appeared like 14,000 Rams were there, meaning he was so dexterous, and he killed Kara, Dhushan, and Trisharas. So especially Kara was very difficult to defeat, and finally using the Vishnu Dhanush, Kara is also killed. Once all this was over, Sita comes out from the cave and she embraces Lord Ramachandra. Tam drishtva shatruhantaram maharshinam sukahvayam babuva hrishta vaidehi bhartaram parishasvaje. Very, very famous verse. She goes and she embraces her husband, and because she comes from earth, her body is the very abode of all the herbs in the universe, and she immediately cures the Lord with her embrace. And we also saw many commentaries relating to that verse. Then Akampana, who's one of the 14,000 soldiers who kind of escaped, he goes and he reports the matter to Ravana, and he tempts Ravana. He tells about Sita, about the beauty of Sita, and he says she is fit to be your queen. And he even gives a suggestion that you should kidnap Sita. So, taking that advice, Ravana goes and meets Maricha for the first time. I mean, like he meets him twice, once after the advice of Akampana and later after the talk of Shurpanaka. So the first time he goes to see Maricha, Maricha tells him, are you crazy? Who's this person who's giving you such stupid advice? Because this kind of advice is only going to destroy you. You better go back home. Listening to the good words, Maricha, actually Ravana goes back home. And then later, Shurpanaka, she enters and she starts criticizing Ravan in various ways. And then when Ravan questions her, she talks about what happened in Janastan. And she tells that if you marry Sita, if you bring Sita here, and if you become her husband, then you will become the ruler of the three worlds. Of course, she also describes the beauty of Sita, but this time it is reinforced in his heart that he really wants to capture Sita. So he goes back to Maricha. He's convinced. He goes back to Maricha, and he tells Maricha that I really want that to kidnap the Sita. So you go in the form of a golden deer. But Maricha, he tries to advise him in various ways, and he tells his experiences. That twice he was defeated by Ram. One when Ram was just 12 years old, but that was also not so much of a blow as when he approached Ram when Ram was a Grihastha, when he was Sita Ram. So the Sita Ram is far more powerful than Brahmachari Ram. And when he hit me, when I went around in the form of actually a deer that eats flesh, okay? So a crazy animal. The arrows that were hit on his friend deers, killed those deers, and he somehow just escaped with that arrow that Ram was shooting. And he says, since then, I have been living like a celibate. I've been living in the forest with just some deer skin, and I'm doing so many austerities. So he tells, this is a very bad idea. Please don't do anything. If you kidnap Sita, then that will be the cause of your destruction. So he warns him in various ways. But then Ravan, he says that you're trying to advise me, but I am the king. I only give orders. I don't listen to your advice, and I never sought your advice. So don't give me free advice. I am going to carry away Sita. So then Maricha, he prefers to die in the hands of Ram, and he decides to go as a golden deer. And as we all know, he went around in front of Sita, and Lakshman warned, this is Maricha. Because already we have had experience of Maricha. He can take different shapes. So don't get eluded by this, because there is no golden deer in reality. But then Sita does talk about her plans, that it will be nice to have a pet deer in our palace, or even if the deer is killed, we can at least get the skin of the deer and so on. And Lakshman warns Ram, saying that this is not a good idea. I don't think you should go behind the deer. But then Ramachandra says, even if he's a demon, my duty is to give protection to the sages. So I must go kill the deer. Or if he's not a demon, I will bring the nice deer. So either way, I have to do my duty. So I will go. So he goes, and you know that he shot an arrow at Maricha. And at that time, Maricha shouted, Ha Lakshmana, Ha Sita, in the voice of Rama. Sita started worrying, and then Lakshmana was telling Sita that there is nothing to worry, nobody can defeat your lord. But then finally she uses harsh words, and she tells, it appears that you have a lot of desire for me, and that is the reason you're refusing to go. And then Lakshman is all tearful, and his hand folded, and he finally, with a heavy heart, though he didn't want to go, looking back again and again at Sita, he leaves, because Sita tells him, if you don't go now, then I will commit suicide. I will jump off a cliff, or I will enter fire. So that's the point when Acharyas explain that she actually, thinking of Lord Ram, when Lakshman just leaves, thinking of Lord Ram, in the absorption of Lord Ram, there is this fire sacrifice that is happening. Every Grihastha has to do Panchasuna Yajna, which is 5 kinds of sacrifices. And we see from the beginning, Ramachandra was carrying his fire. And it is the same fire with which one actually gets consumed, one's body gets consumed at the time of death. Okay, so every Grihastha has to have that fire from the day of the marriage. So this is interesting. On the day of the marriage, there's a fire that is lit, and in front of that fire, you take vows. So you carry that fire and you continue that fire, and it should always be burning wherever you go. And eventually, at the time of death, the same fire devours one body. This is the tradition that was followed for Grihasthas. Anyway, Lord Ramchandra always had the fire. So according to the Acharyas, she was looking at the fire, and she was completely absorbed in the thoughts of Lord Ram. And this is the point that she enters the fire. And the original Sita is taken under the custody of Uma Devi and Lord Shiva. While Maya Sita, who had entered fire as Vedavati, she emerges out from the fire. So like this is the verdict of Puranas, as well as one of the commentators, Maheshwara Tirtha. He also agrees to this. Okay. So then Ravan, he slowly approaches in the guise of a sannyasi. And initially he starts glorifying her beauty, which is very awkward. But still, sannyasi is worshipable just because he wears an orange robe. Okay. Just by seeing the lakshanas of a sannyasi, one should actually give respect to a sannyasi. That's the point. So Sita asks him to come inside. Again, this is according to Valmiki. He was invited inside. There was no Lakshman Rekha. There was it's not like Sita came outside to give alms and so on. She invites him inside. She gives him a place to sit down, a mat to sit. And she also offers some food and water and everything. And then she says, very soon my husband will come and he can give you better, better treatment or better facility in treating the guest. But anyway, eventually, Ravana keeps insisting to ask her, who are you? Tell me who you are. And you look so beautiful and all that. And then Sita, she decides that she will just tell who she is. See, always when Shurpanaka inquired from Lord Ram who he is, or when Ravan inquired from Sita who she is, it was always the tradition that they just spoke the truth. They just said, this is who I am. They didn't cover up saying that I'm somebody else or something. So they just spoke the truth. So what did she say? She said, Duhita janakasya aham maitilyasya mahatmanaha Sita namna asmi bhadram te ramasya mahishi priya. So she says, I am the daughter of Janaka, Duhita. Duhita means daughter, right? So I am the daughter of Janaka and he is the lord of Mithila Desh. And my name is Sita and Bhadramte. She tells auspiciousness unto you to a sannyasi. She tells that because I am the Mahishi means wife, of who's Ramachandra. So there are also opinions from our commentators that she was kind of unclear about the intentions of this person because a sannyasi should generally be very dignified and he wouldn't speak to a woman like that. So she says, Bhadram the Ramasya Mahishi Priya. So she introduces herself like that. And then she tells a story also. She says, when I was 12 years old in the palace of my husband, for 12 years, I stayed in the palace of my husband. And when during the 13th year of my marriage, he was supposed to be crowned. But however, my venerable mother-in-law, Kaikeyi, sent us to the forest. And when my husband was 25 years old, he entered the forest. So she gives exact details about at what age they came to the forest and so on. And she tells Lakshman also accompanied us. And my husband will come soon, fetching all kinds of nice foodstuffs from the forest, like roots and tubers and everything. And you can have a good feast. And I'm looking forward to his coming. It's time that he comes now. So her eyes were fixed outside and she was waiting. She was looking at the pathway, whether Ramchandra would be coming at that point or not. So at that time, Ravana, he started disclosing his identity. So Sita, she asks, after she introduced herself, she asks Ravan, so you tell me who you are, O sannyasi. Please let me know who you are. At that time, Ravana, he begins to talk. He begins to say that, oh Sita, you are so beautiful. You have such a golden complexion. I am Ravana and I am a Rakshasa by nature. And I am the grandson of the Pulatsya. And my father is Vishrava and so on. And he says that I'm actually a Rakshasa by nature. He just says it, that I am the Rakshasa. And he says, you will soon become my prime queen. I want to marry you. I am fed up with all my queens. I want to marry you. I'm so bewildered by your beauty. Nestled on the mountaintop, there is a great city called as Lanka, which is surrounded by the ocean. So Sita, if you become my wife, we can enjoy in the pleasure gardens and I will make you my primary wife and you will have 5,000 handmaidens who will be serving you. So when Ravana said all this, Sita was completely shocked. She was completely dishonored by the words that Ravana said. And she was completely shocked. And she said, what are you talking? I am the wife of Rama. And four different times she says, I am the wife of Rama who is inflexible. He's sturdy like a mountain. He's comparable to Indra and he's unshakable like a vast ocean. He's the best among men. He has broad shoulders and he's like a lion. His face is like a moon. He's like a prince. I am the wife of such a Rama. So 4 times she says, I'm the wife of Ram, I'm the wife of Ram, I'm the wife of Ram. And what is this? You're coming in the robe of a sannyasi. You introduce yourself to be a Rakshasa, but you have come in the robe of a sannyasi. What kind of attitude is this? You are like a fox who has come to woo me. Hmm? And I am like a lioness, and a fox can never get hold of a lioness. So you have ill fate, O demon, you're ill fated simply because you came and you're trying to woo the wife of Raghava. So definitely you will pay for this. Just get away from here. And Ravana had intentions of taking away Sita. So he said, right, I'm going to take you away to the kingdom of Lanka. So Sita said, even if you steal me away now, later when Ram finds you, he will actually kill you. It will be like you cannot digest me. It will be like a person who has digested a diamond if you try to digest me. And at that time, when she spoke such words, Ravana, he knitted his eyebrows and he said, I am Ravana and I am very, very valorous. I am the stepbrother of Kuvera. All the Gandharvas, the Kinnaras, the Nagas, the demons, the demigods, they are all frightened by me and they flee in all directions. And I have this great airship of Kuvera. I am such a great personality and I am the Lord of Lanka. So you're talking to this personality, mind you. So you cannot speak such words to me. You have to give in to my desires. And he says that my Lanka is so well planned. It is a gorgeous city that is adorned with so many compound walls and palace chambers. And if you come there, you will be very happy. You and me, we can enjoy there. And you will be considered the best of all females. And who is that Ram? He has no valor. He's an ordinary man, and in the dress of an ascetic, in the name of receiving some, curse from his stepmother, he has come into the forest. What kind of man is he? He can't even stand up for himself. Why do you aspire to live with such a person? Rather, you can just come with me and you can enjoy in my city of Lanka. At that time, Sita says, how can you even commit such sins? You say you're the brother of Kuvera and you have such terrible intentions. How can you even be the brother of Kuvera? She says it is impossible to achieve me by any means. Even Shachi Devi, who is the wife of Indra, can be abducted. But I, who is the wife of Ramachandra, can never be taken by any other man. So, on hearing all these words of Sita, this Ravana, he roared loudly and he clapped his hands. And immediately he took his demon form with 10 heads. And then he told him, Maithili, maybe you have not heard about my valor because of your madness for Ram. Standing in the sky, I can lift up this entire earth with my 2 arms, and I can even put the death personified to death. In fact, I can split the sun and I can splinter the earth, oh mad woman, and I can even assume any form I wish. So, like this, Ravana, he started telling all his glories, and he said, if you wish to have a well renowned man of the 3 worlds, then you should take shelter of me, and I alone can be a perfect husband for you. So he says that, and then immediately, with great anger, he lifts up Sita. So Ravana, he grabbed Sita by lifting her up. How with his left hand he caught on to her plait, that is her hair, and with the right hand he caught on to the end of her thighs, that is near her legs. So one hand on the plate, the other hand at the legs, and he lifted her. And he put her into the chariot that had magically appeared. In the previous class, we saw that when Ravana came here, he rode on a chariot that was yoked to mules, right? Mules. And these mules had ghostly faces. Mules means it's like a donkey, okay, yoked of donkeys. This is not the Pushpaka Vimana. He comes in a Vimana that was yoked with donkeys, and these donkeys had ferocious faces. So this Vimana, it just appeared in the sky at the will of Ravana because it was ready to take away Ravana along with Sita. So carrying Vaidehi like that, he puts Vaidehi in the chariot. Now here the commentators, they say, while carrying Vaidehi, Ravana couldn't touch her sensuously. Because the minute he touches her sensuously, then what happens? His head will splinter into 1,000 pieces because Ravana already has this curse. He has been cursed by many women. Okay? So he knew very well. So he had to touch her only with her on her plate on one hand and leg on the other hand. And whom was he lifting at this point in time? As already revealed in the previous session, it was Maya Sita that he was taking away. Because actually Ravana cannot touch the spiritual Sita. So now he put Vaidehi in the chariot, and Sita was wailing loudly. She was crying out. Actually, first she cried out to Lakshman. She called out to Lakshman, "Hey Lakshman, are you there?" She says, "Ha Lakshmana Mahabaho Guru Chitta Prasadakaha Hriyamanam na janishe Rakshasa Kamarupina." So there is this Kamarupina. That means a person who can just take a form as he desires. There's a Rakshasa who's Kamarupina, and he's taking me away. He's just kidnapping me. Ha Lakshmana Mahabaho Guru Chitta Prasadaka, one who pleases your elder brother, your guru and your mentor, one who is very pleasing to him. She first calls out to Lakshmana immediately. And she says, "Lakshmana, are you there?" Because why? Lakshmana was the one who just left. Not only that, she also had guilt in her heart at this point in time. Lakshman told me in so many ways, this is not a safe thing to do. So anyway, so she calls out, "Ha Lakshmana, are you there?" And then she started calling out for Rama. "Rama, where are you? I've been taken away by this Rakshasa." So while she was wailing like this, Ravana just caught hold of her and he flew in his chariot. And at that time, Sita started crying out. She was telling, "Oh, Raghava, you have given up your entire life for the sake of upholding dharma, and you came to this forest. You had taken vows to protect all your dependents. So many people did Sharanagati unto you, and you had taken vows that you'll never give up on them. But are you not able to see me? I have been abducted by adharma personified." And she says, "Rama, I wonder why you're not controlling the sinful Ravana." And she turned to Ravana and she started rebuking Ravana in various ways. She said, "Hey, I'm the honest wife of Rama. I only belong to him. And today you're a demon and you are abducting me." And she says, "Today maybe Kaikeyi's desires are going to come true." Because they think of Kaikeyi from time to time, thinking that, oh, she was the one who sent us to the forest. So Sita at this point, she's telling, maybe today Kaikeyi and her kinfolk are going to be very, very happy and their desires are going to come true. And she calls out, she looks around and she calls out to everyone. She calls out to the Kinkara trees that were there in Janasthan. And she tells, "Oh, Kinkara trees, please inform Ram when he comes back that Ravana is taking away Sita." She called out to the different trees and the flowering plants and fruit plants and everything, saying that, "Please tell, all of you, please tell that when Ram comes, Ravana has taken away Sita." So she looked at the river and she saw these swans and water birds and so on. She told river Godavari, "Oh, Godavari Devi, please tell that Ravana is taking away Sita. Ravana will, when Ram comes, he'll come in search of me. At that time, you all please tell that this Ravana is taking me away." And then she calls out to all the forest deities. Because remember, when Lakshman left, he says, "Let the forest deities protect you." That is what he says, and he leaves. So she calls out to all the forest deities because the forests are presided by different deities. Many Vanadevatas are there. So she calls out to all the Vanadevatas and she says, "Oh, Vanadevatas, oh, different birds that reside on treetops, I pray to all of you, please convey this news that the wife of Rama, Sita, is being kidnapped." And then she called out like this in various ways and she was screaming. At that time, she saw Jatayu. Remember Jatayu during their first meeting, Jatayu said, "Oh Rama, Lakshmana, When you are out in the woods, I will protect Sita. He gave his word. So that is when she sees Jatayu being perched on a tree. And when she sees Jatayu, she calls out, "Oh, fatherly Jatayu," because Jatayu was the great friend of her father-in-law, Dasharath. So she called out, "Oh, Jatayu, look at me. I've been orphaned and I'm pitiably abducted by such a demon. You are an old man. It is not possible for you to counteract with this demon who has weapons. So please tell this information to Ram. Ram will come for me. So please tell this information to Ram and Lakshman what has happened to me, that this demon is taking me away." So like this, she begged Jatayu. So she was not asking Jatayu to stop Ravan at this point in time, because she knew very well that Jatayu was very old. It will be very difficult for him to fight with such a terrible demon. So she says, just convey the news. Just convey the news that the wife of Sita has been abducted when Ram comes in search of, the wife of Ram has been abducted when Ram comes in search of me. So like this, she called out to Jatayu. But then Jatayu, he was a very great devotee. When he heard this, he was a very old person, right? So he was just napping on top of a tree branch. And when he heard this, he craned his neck to see what is happening. He opened his eyes and he saw Sita screaming like this. And Jatayu was immediately alerted. And he called, "Hey, brother," he called out to Ravan and he said, "Don't do this terrible deed. I'm the king of all birds, Jatayu, and I'm an adherer of dharma. In front of me, how can you perform this adharma?" And there the commentators say, when Jatayu says, "I am the adherer of dharma," they are telling that he's the adherer of pure Sanatana Dharma. What is Sanatana Dharma? To understand that you are the servant of the Lord. To practice the act of becoming the servant of the Lord is actually Sanatana Dharma. Even in seventh canto, Srila Prabhupada in the purports, he clarifies this. That is real Sanatana Dharma, to awaken your Krishna consciousness. So anyway, Jatayu says, "I'm a practicer of dharma and you're doing adharma in front of me. Ram is the Lord of Sita and you are abducting Sita Devi, and that too you are a king. How you should be following the laws to the point, but instead of following the laws, you are abducting the wife of others. How can you be a king? And that too you are abducting the wife of another king. Why? Because you should never ever lay your hands on the wife of another king, simply because the wife of a king is like one's mother. We all know there are 7 mothers, right? So the wife of the king is also one's mother. How can you lay your hands on her in the wrong way? How can you kidnap her? So Jatayu's reasoning with Ravan in various ways. First of all, you're a king. You should be exemplary. You should not do such acts. But you're doing such acts and you're laying your hands on the wife of another woman. So this is not correct. Like that, he begins to argue with Ravan. And he says, "See, Ramachandra has not done anything to you. Why are you abducting his wife? Okay, if he's your enemy, if he has transgressed into your country, and if he has fought with you, then you want to take revenge. You come and you abduct his wife. That is, understandable. Of course, it's not correct, but still, there should be some reason, right? But Ramachandra has not done anything to you. He has not transgressed you in any way. So what is the reason that you're trying to take away his wife? And if the reason for you to take away Sita Devi is because he fought with Karadushana, who are all your people, there is nothing wrong in what Ramachandra did. Actually, Karadushan were the one who transgressed the rules and they came and they attacked Ram. Ram was only protecting himself. They came for the sake of Shurpanaka, and Shurpanaka was the one who was overstepping in behavior. It was not Lord Ram. So don't do this. There is no reason why you should carry away Sita Devi. Don't be scorched by Ram's eyes, because Ram can just kill you by opening his eyes and burning you to death. Don't become a victim of that. So he says, "I'm dedicated to preserving the culture of my fathers and great-grandfathers. And for thousands of years, I've been doing this. And now it's been 60,000 years since I was born. So much time has elapsed. You are very young. I'm very old. You have armors and you have arrows. I don't have anything. I'm a bird in the open sky. But however, you cannot take away Sita in front of my eyes. If you forcibly take away Vaidehi, and try to run away like that, don't forget that I am keeping an eye on her. And your taking away of Sita forcibly is simply not correct. It is like how Vedic scriptures are being distorted by logicians, materialists, non-believers, and people that who are very fond of logic. See the analogy that Jatayu uses. Jatayu says your abduction of Sita is adharmic as much as how many personally motivated interpreters spoil the meaning of Shastras. So that's what he's telling. And he says, if I'm here, you can never ever take away Sita. And his eyes became very, very red because Ravan was not listening. And he dashed very furiously towards Ravan to attack him. So it was like two heavy clouds or two mountains clashing on each other. And Ravana, he stormed at Jatayu as Jatayu was storming towards him. And he started shooting several arrows towards Jatayu. Jatayu clasped onto Ravana with one of his claws and he lunged, he caught hold of Ravana. And Ravana was trying to shoot multiple arrows, and Jatayu with his wings, he was winnowing all those arrows. He was just, slapping away all the arrows with his wings. So like this, Jatayu, he even held on to Ravana and he caught Ravana's bow with one of his claws and he shattered Ravana's bows. And next what he did was, there were these ghostly faced mules, right, that were yoked to the chariot. So he went and he started knocking off the faces of all these ghostly faced mules. And then he even took away the head of the charioteer. There was a charioteer for Ravana. And Jatayu even splintered the chariot of Ravana. So he started breaking it with his beaks and his claws. And he removed the umbrella that was there on top of the chariot. And then there were two people who were fanning Ravana on the chariot. He killed them also. And then the chariot was splintered. Their heads were all chopped off. Just with his mere claws and nails, he was able to accomplish all this. And the people who were guarding Ravana, they were also taken off. And at that time, Ravana, since his chariot was broken, he placed Vaidehi on his thighs, holding her like that. She was very tiny compared to that huge colossal demon. So he just put her on the thighs and he got down. He jumped onto the earth without the chariot as the chariot broke into pieces. At that time, all the demigods in the sky, they were cheering Jatayu. But however, Jatayu was very fatigued because of his old age. So Ravana, he again, took up, he fell down. I mean, actually, he got down with Maithili. And then he saw Jatayu and again he rose up to the sky. Ravana had mystic powers. He could fly by himself. He didn't need a chariot. So he just rose up to the sky along with Maithili. And Jatayu saw that he's coming to the sky. And again, Jatayu went dashing towards Ravan to fight with him. So he said, you're so mean-minded. You're abducting the wife of another person. You will soon have to face Ram. So Jatayu again held on to Ravana's body with his claws and he started scratching him, he started nicely tearing his skin. And just with his claws and beak, he was fighting with Ravana. And he even started to hold on to Ravana's hair and he was tweezing Ravana's hair. So it'll be very painful, right? Imagine if someone is tweezing your hair like that. So like this, Jatayu was trying to work in various ways so that this Ravana would leave Sita Devi. Then Jatayu, what he did is with his beak and his claws, he caught on to the 10 arms of Ravana. So Ravana was Dashagriva, right? So he also had 10 arms. He manifested 10 arms. So he cut with his beak, he just plucked off those 10 arms and with those left side of the 10 arms, and it all fell down along with Vaidehi. And Vaidehi was about to be released. But Ravana's arms miraculously grew. Like how when a serpent is there, when a reptile, like for example, lizards or serpent, when the tail is cut off, it grows back, right? So like that, Ravana's heads and his arms, they reappear if they are cut off. Okay, so it just reappeared like that. And Ravana, out of pain, when the hands were chopped like that, he threw away Sita. And Sita was now on the ground. And Ravana took up a sword because he was so frustrated with his Jatayu. And he took a sword, he cut off Jatayu's wings, his sides, and his feet. So everything was cut off. And Jatayu was almost falling down without life. He was almost rendered lifeless. He had not given up his life fully, but he was almost rendered lifeless. And seeing Jatayu fallen like this, with the blood, Vaidehi was on the ground, and Jatayu had fallen on the ground like that. She went running to Jatayu, and she was crying so miserably, and she embraced Jatayu out of fatherly affection for him. And she was weeping and she was crying for this pitiable situation that Jatayu was. And this Ravan, he was staring at the Jatayu who was fallen down like that. And Sita Devi was hugging and she was crying, thinking of the situation of Jatayu. And she started lamenting. She said, "Oh Rama, are you seeing all this? This great Jatayu, who's like my father, he mercifully came to save me, and look at his condition now. He's fallen on earth. Everything is because of my bad luck. Because of me, even this fatherly Jatayu is actually in such a terrible situation." And she started screaming out. She was calling out, "Oh Rama, oh Kakustha, oh Lakshmana, liberate me right now. I don't wish to live anymore in this condition. Because of me, this great fatherly figure is no more, and this demon has touched me. I don't want to stay here anymore. I just want to die right now." And Ravana was running towards Vaidehi to catch her. And Vaidehi ran, she left Jatayu also and she ran, and her jewelry, her clothes, everything was getting disheveled. Her hair was disheveled. And finally she went and she embraced a tree. She embraced a tree, holding on to a tree because she didn't want to get into the hands of Ravan. But however, this Ravan, he went close to her and he said, leave it off, get your hands off that tree." And she was like, "No, I'm not going to leave this place. I cannot come with you." And then he caught hold to her hair. She had a bun tied to her hair, and that bun was loosened. Her hair came off like that, like it came out loose. She had loose hair. And the minute he touched her like that, it is considered that you're inviting your death. Generally, it is a big disrespectful act of a man to pull a woman's hair like that, actually. So that also indicates that the person will die soon if he does that to a woman. Like we all know the story of how Dushasan and Draupadi, right? So Draupadi takes a vow. It is very, very dishonorable to do that to a woman. So he does that, and then he pulls back the Sita and he flies with her in the sky, putting her on the thigh. He flies with her back into the sky. So when Sita was abducted, we should remember the chariot. First and foremost thing, there's no question of Pushpak Viman. Initially, there was a chariot with yoked mules, but that was also completely destroyed by Jatayu. So after Jatayu, Sita was carried by Ravan just in the sky. He was able to fly in the sky. So he just carried her like that, and Sita was rebuking him in various ways. She said, "What kind of person are you? You're such a coward. You sent a golden deer to abduct me, and you kill an old vulture who's a friend of my father-in-law, and you're bragging about yourself, saying, 'I am Ravana, I am the conqueror of everyone.' What a shame. What kind of person are you? When a woman is alone, how can you come and simply abduct her? That too, I am the wife of someone else. If you are really a man, you should win a woman either by wooing her or by winning over her, showing your great deeds. But what have you done? You're simply irrationally abducted the wife of another person. People will laugh at you in the future. They will tell that, Ravana was the one who did deplorable deeds. That is how history is going to talk about you." And she says, even you can even win over demigods, but you can never win over my husband Rama. All the demigods were watching this, and even Brahma was also watching this. And they were all feeling so bad for Sita's condition. But at the same time, the demigods were delighted in their heart. You know why? Because they were thinking very soon the end of Ravan is going to come. When he touched Sita, when he pulled the hair of Sita, when he abducted Sita, that is when his death was confirmed by Ram. So then Sita, who's the daughter of Janaka, who's such a great personality, she was like a lightning. She was like a lightning, and this Ravan was like a dense cloud, and they were flying in the sky. And from her body, all the garments, pieces of garlands, and the decoration on her head, all that was falling down. The flowers, all that was falling down as she was flying with Ravan in the sky. And she started telling Ravan, very soon you will see Vaitarini river for what you are doing. Because you're doing so many sins, you will go to hell. You all know the river that runs in hell is called as Vaitarini. And you must have all read that in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So she says, very soon you will see the Vaitarini river and you will go to the hellish planet that has sword leaves that are like swords. Because a person who follows a lot of adharma will actually be sent to that place, and his body will be cut by those sword-like leaves. You will see that hell, she says. Not only that, she says, you will see silk cotton trees flowered with molten gold, shrouded with lapis like gems, and sharp irony thorns in hell. So this Asipatravanam, I think that is one of the hellish planets. And there is also another hellish planets that has silk cotton trees. So these hells a person would go when they abduct someone else's wife, or they have illicit relation with someone whom you should not be having with. I mean, like you should not actually have with. So like that, those kind of hells, these are the places you will soon see. And she said, my husband Ram, he single-handedly conquered 14,000 demons within 1.5 muhurtas. So you are nothing for him. And I am the wife of that Ram. You cannot withstand his arrows. You're just inviting more and more trouble for yourself. And like this, when she was flying with Ravan like this, she could not see anyone who could help her. But then when she was passing through the Rishyamukha Parvat in this Kishkinda area, that is when she sees a few Vanaras, 5 Vanaras on top of the mountain, and they are all shocked. They're just opening their mouth and they are looking at Ravan taking away Sita like that. And Sita who's crying over and over. So this was something that they were actually kind of shocked, and they were looking. So with open eyes and open mouth, they were looking at what is happening? Who's this man? Who's this Ravan taking? They already know Ravan, but they didn't know, they had seen Ravan was enjoying with women. But here there was one woman who was crying, and she was shouting out for help, and she was cursing Ravan, and Ravan was abducting her. So they were very shocked, and with open eyes and open mouth, they were looking at her. And at that time, Sita, she just tore off, because Ravan was taking her on his thigh area, right? Like that, he was holding her and he was flying. But Ravan was also looking back from time to time, because Sita kept telling about Rama. She kept telling, Ram is not going to leave you. He's going to come for you, and he's close by. He's in the forest. He will come anytime. She kept saying that. So Ravan, from time to time, he was looking back to see if someone was chasing him. And at that time, when he was looking back, what Sita did is, from her upper garment, she tore a piece of cloth and she tied the jewels, some jewels from her right side, because the left side apparently was like, she was, Ravana was holding on to her. So from her right side that was free, she took out one earring, one nose ring, one bracelet, one, biceps. On the biceps, they wear that anklet kind of thing, right? That one, her leg anklets, all of that she took out, and she tied it in a cloth quickly, and she put it down onto the place where those Vanaras were, so that the Vanaras could receive that little pouch with all these jewels. And she was hoping that later, when Ramachandra comes, he will come in search of me. At that time, somebody can show this proof that I have been taken away in this path. Okay, so thinking like that, she drops it onto the Vanaras who are onlooking. And who are these Vanaras? That we will find out soon, these 5 Vanaras. Anyway, so like this, she was still wailing and crying, and like this, they crossed the Pampa Sarovar, which is in the Kishkinda, and they went further south, and they crossed the great ocean, the Indian Ocean. They crossed the Indian Ocean, and this Siddhas, Charanas, and so many other lower demigods were seeing this from the clouds, and they were, alarmed, saying, "Oh, this Ravana, he's creating such a terrible thing, and very soon he will have to pay for it." Finally, Ravana, he reaches Lanka, and it appeared like as if death personified was coming into Lanka, because very soon he was going to die because of the terrible deed that he had done. And how did Lanka look? Lanka was a beautiful city. It had well-symmetric roadways. There were beautiful palaces and so many different chambers. It was a city of gold. And Sita, who was completely bewildered, was taken like this, and they both landed in Lanka. It was exactly like how the demon Maya had kept his lover Hema in a demoniac black hole. Like that, Sita was kept in Lanka. Now, why this description? It is very relevant. Maya and his lover Hema is very, very important here, because there was this Danava by the name Maya Danava, who's also called as the architect of the demons. His wife is called Hema. He abducts Hema, and he keeps her in a black hole, or in a cave. Now, it's interesting why this comparison is told here. It is because this, anyone knows who Hema is? What is the connection with Ravana? Just thought of asking. Anyone knows? And what is this black hole? Anybody knows? Okay, I'll tell. So Hema is actually the mother of Mandodari. Okay. She is the mother of Mandodari, and later we'll read in the Uttarakanda later how Ravana marries Mandodari. So Hema is none other than the mother of Mandodari, and the black hole is the cave of Swayam Prabha. Later, when the monkeys, the Vanaras, who go in the southern direction, they enter a dense cave, a dark cave, and they get stuck there. And the caretaker of that cave's name is Swayam Prabha. She was actually a friend of Hema, and she was taking care of the cave of Hema. So we'll go through all those incidents very soon when we get into Kishkinda. Okay, so that I thought that analogy at this point in time was very relevant, that comparison. Just like how the demon Mayadanava had taken Hema and put her into a hole, into a particular cave. Similarly, this Ravan who was carrying Sita, he took her and he put her in Lanka, that was also like a big dark cave. Anyway, then he instructed all the demonesses who were around him. They were also very surprised that, oh, Ravan has brought some other woman today. And he immediately instructed some demonesses to take over. He said, okay, you all have to take over from today. Whatever she wishes to have, I brought this lady, whatever she wishes to have. If she wants gold or jewels, pearls, or garments, whatever she wants, you should provide her with that. And never speak any unpleasant words to her. She's very, very important to me. So like that, he calls some demonesses and he gives them orders. Then he called about 8 male demons. 8 male demons, and he told them, you immediately go to the mainland, and there you go to Janasthan specifically and keep an eye on Ram. Who's this Ram? he is the one who killed Kara, Dhushan, and Trishiras, and he also killed all our 14,000 demons. He is loitering around in Janastan, and you should spy and you should see what he is doing and give information about his activities from time to time. So you should also try in various ways to eliminate that man who's there. And these 8 demons, they immediately departed from Lanka as soon as they received the orders, and they went to Janastan in different appearances. Then Ravana, he was very satisfied because he had accomplished a very great feat, right? He had brought Vaidehi all the way. So he decided to go to the beautiful palace. He took Vaidehi with him, and then he said, "Come, let's go to the palace." And he showed different multi-storied buildings that were laden with gems and ivory and all kinds of lapis lazuli and all that. And Ravana, he started walking up those golden staircases along with Sita. Sita was so reluctant to even walk, but she was forced by Ravana to come up. And they were walking up the flight of stairs, and they were also laden with silver and gold. And even the windows and the window blinds were filled with silver and gold. So you can imagine how much luxury was there. And there were, this Ravan told Sita, there are over 10 crores of first-hand demons, first-class demons, and 22 crores of demons who have ghastly appearances. And there are 320 million demons in Lanka in total, omitting the weak demons. And I am the lord of all of them. So you can imagine how great Ravan was. So Ravan was telling, I am the lord of all these people. And he started his own self-eulogy again. And he said, it is, I am their lord, and it is impossible to attack Lanka in any way. Lanka is perfectly protected. It is 100 yojanas widthwise. Nobody can enter Lanka without, getting my permission. They can never ever attack Lanka. And you are in this place. It is filled with so much luxury, and you can be my wife. And I am the lord of so many demons. What are you going to achieve with that hopeless man who's short-lived? He's a human being. He doesn't even have enough vitality. He's simply roaming in the jungle. He just can't give you anything. Maithili, I have all these divine garlands, I have jewelry, I have such beautiful apparel. You can use all of this, and not just that, I have this wonderful aircraft known as Pushpaka. My brother had it, but I took it away from him. And in this aircraft, we can happily, merrily fly around in different places. All that you have to do is just marry me. That is all you have to do. So he was talking like this and walking up the stairs, and he was looking at her, and Sita, she was crying. She was crying so much, and she was trying to hide her face with the upper part of her pallu. She was closing her face. She was so disgusted to see this Ravan. So she was just closing her face like that, and she was trying to wipe her tears. And this fool, Ravan, thought, oh, today she has come under my control. So he was feeling like that, and he was feeling very satisfied. And he was telling Sita, what my desire is. I'm such a great man, but I want to bow down. I want to catch hold of your feet, and I want to massage your feet with my 10 heads. So please do me a favor. Let me be your servant. You come under my control. And he was thinking in his mind, hereafter I will get her, because I can flaunt my opulences, and her heart will surely change. But then at that time, while they reached the palace, Sita, as they reached, she took a blade of grass, a stalk, what do you call that? A dried blade of grass, okay? And a straw, basically. And she put it in front of Ravan. So you'll see this from time to time. Sita always does that. When she has to have a conversation with Ravan, she'll take a straw, she'll put it in front of Ravan, and the straw acts as a screen when she speaks to a man whom she's not connected with, okay? So she puts that screen in front of Ravan. It also indicates that you're not even worthy of anything. You are like as fallen as a blade of grass. You're nothing for me. So that is also another indication. So Sita, she says, I am Dasharath's daughter-in-law, and you think you can conquer me? I can never ever bring the blemish to my in-laws or to the dynasty of Dasharath Maharaj. I always belong to Ramachandra, who's always righteous. He cannot tolerate unrighteousness, and he can never, act like how you are acting. You are a personification of unrighteousness. And here, especially the commentators say that she's taking the name of Dasharath. Dasharath means what? One who can ride the chariot in 10 different directions. She's telling my father-in-law can ride the chariot in 10 different directions, but you can steer the chariot only in one direction, which is called as lust, the direction of lust. And my father-in-law, he can handle 10 different armies at one point in time, but you can handle only one. You can just handle one Pushpaka Viman that is just going in one direction. What capability do you have? By moving his chariot, he can handle 10 different armies. But you can just auto-propel that Pushpaka Viman and go in one direction. And that one direction is also in the direction of lust. That kind of person you are. I come from a tradition of righteousness. So don't ever think that I will succumb to all the temptations that you are showing to me. And she says that Ramachandra has taken birth in the Ikshvaku dynasty. His shoulders is like that of a lion. And he has his resplendent brother, Lakshmana. And with Rama and Lakshmana, you think you stand a chance? Ram is my husband. So there is no way that you can escape from Ram. Even you can even fight with Indra. Even Indra can come under your control. But Ramachandra can never ever come under your control. Even if Ram glances at you with his angry eyes, you will be burned, just like how Kamadev was burned by the fury of Lord Shiva. She said, Lanka will soon become like a widowed woman because you kidnapped me without Ram's knowledge. And Ram is still moving in Janastan. You will have to face his arrows. He will soon come here. He will know where I am and he will come here and you will face his arrows. So at that time, Ravan said, hey, angry woman, you're showing anger. Listen to my words. I give you only 12 months. And if you do not come under my control in 12 months, then I will call my cooks, I will slice you up and I'll cook you and I will have you for breakfast. This is the first time that he gives this warning. He gives a similar warning later. Okay, because Rakshasas, they eat human flesh, right? Then Maithili was taken to the Ashoka Gardens. So he called few demonesses and he told them, you have to remove her pride. She's talking too much. Take her to the Ashoka Van and guard her. Ensure that nobody comes to see her. And you threaten her in various ways. Threaten her to come under my control. If you cannot threaten her, you beg, imploringly you bring her under control. So either way, whatever it is, she has to come under my control. So having said that, they take her to the Ashoka Gardens. Now, back in the forest in Janastan, Ramachandra, he had just killed the demon Maricha, and Maricha had taken the form of a deer. And he had taken the form of a deer, and eventually, when he was killed, he showed his original form as a demon. And Ramachandra was very, very worried because this Marich also called out Ha Lakshmana, Ha Sita in his voice. So immediately he got a little worried. Hey, what is this? And such a loud voice that the entire forest could hear it. So he got worried and he could hear jackals howling. So immediately he thought, this is a bad omen. Jackals are howling. Is Vaidehi really safe? And hearing my voice, definitely Vaidehi would have got very worried. And what if she sends Lakshman over here and she becomes alone and demons go and attack her? So like this, he became very, very worried and he was thinking, are they both going to be safe in my absence? And not only that, he started seeing bad omens. He was seeing birds that were circumambulating from left to right, birds and animals. So we have talked about this multiple times, about Nimitta and Shakuna. Shakuna means the movement of birds, and nimitta is the movement of animals and the indications in one's own body. So this is called as nimitta. So he was seeing bad nimittas and bad shakunas, and he thought that something must be wrong, and he hastily started running towards the ashram where they were. And while he was running like that, he saw Lakshmana coming towards him. And he saw Lakshman and he was all the more shocked. Why did Lakshman come here now? And leaving Sita alone. So he catches hold of Lakshman's hand and he says, "Oh, why did you come here? You have done such a terrible act. Did you leave Sita and come? Is everything safe? What happened? Why did you even come here? I wonder if we can really go back to the ashram safely. And I hope Sita is safe in the ashram. She's intact and she's alive." And he said, "This was a demon. He led me on to such a distant place. And somehow or the other, I killed him. And he turned into a demon. He came in the guise of a golden deer, but now he's a demon. And my left eye is twitching. For a man, when the left side of the body is twitching, the left eyes, the thighs, and the left shoulder, I think. Yeah, arms, I think. Yeah. When they twitch, it is considered inauspicious. But for a woman, the left side, if it twitches, it's auspicious, and vice versa. Okay. So he said, "Oh, the left side of my body is twitching. The animals are circumambulating in anti-clockwise directions. I'm seeing very wrong nimittas. I just hope Sita is safe in her hermitage." So he says, "Oh, what will happen if Sita is not there? What?" Ramchandra was getting so anxious that he started imagining, what will happen? What will happen? So he's thinking, "Oh, I will become so sad if something happens to Sita. What if Sita is not here? She came with me to Dandakaranya forest. She was ready to share all the troubles that I would be facing. There is Vaidehi. Without Vaidehi, I cannot live even for a moment. Without Sita's smile, what is life for me? My life force will not stay with me. Vaidehi is dearer than my own life. If she is not there, how will I live? I hope she's alive. I am dead without Sita. If Sita is not there, I will give up my life here." So much, immediately his mind was racing because of his intense affection for Sita. His mind was racing. What will happen if something happens to Sita? He was so anxious. He tells Lakshman, "If I die in separation of Sita, if something happens to Sita, I will also die right here. And you go back to Ayodhya and Kaikeyi's wishes will all be accomplished and she will become very happy. And Kaikeyi can be with her own son. She can enjoy the kingdom. Lakshman, if I die here, at least you go back to the kingdom and you take care of Kausalya and Sumitra and Kaikeyi can enjoy for herself." So like that, he was lamenting and he was wailing and he immediately went to the hermitage and there, this is fast forward scene, okay? So you should imagine Valmiki is such a nice storyteller and not only that, he's a great director. What are we seeing in today's movies? We just see flashes, we see trailer, right? 3-4 scenes trailer and this is what you can expect. That's how you see movies today. First the trailer comes, there is a fast forward scene that happens. They are running in the forest and he sees Lakshman. He holds on to the hand of Lakshman. He starts wailing, thinking, what is happening to Sita? What is happening to Sita? He runs, he goes, he sees in the ashram. When he goes into the ashram, his mouth is all dried up and he has heavy breath. And there he sees the ashram is vacant. And when he enters the ashram, he sees nobody is there and he runs out of the ashram. He goes to one place and he says, "Oh, Sita would be picking flowers here. She's not present here." And then he goes to another place. He says, "Sita would play here with the deers and squirrels. She's not here." Again, he rushes to the hermitage and he says, "Sita would sit here. She's not here." Again, he would go to another place and he would say, "Sita would offer prayers in front of the altar here, but she's missing here." Like this, he was going in and out of the vacant hermitage and he was in complete despair. But this is only a fast forward scene. It didn't happen. So many things happened in between. But the way Valmiki is telling us the story is to increase our curiosity. Okay, what happened? What happened? So this is how it is mentioned first. Okay, this is only the first scene, first look. So the first look trailer is that Lakshman and Ram, they met. Ram started wailing. What happened to Sita? He went inside the ashram. He saw the ashram was vacant. all the places where Sita would sport, Sita is missing. Okay, now slowly go rewind and let's go in slow motion now. What happened during the walk to the cottage? So let's go back to the point when Ram held Lakshman's hand and questioned, where is Sita? Why did you come here to the forest? So now let's go in slow motion from there. So Ram told Lakshman, when I left to the forest, I confided to you. I told that you should take care of Maithili. Why did you leave Maithili? Why did you abandon her and come? I have never ever left her independently or intentionally. I've never let her like that in the harsh words. So why is Sita not being taken care of you, and why did you come to the forest? So at that time, Lakshman, he began to tell that actually I didn't leave her back like purposely just because I wanted to leave her and come behind you. But however, when this voice, Ha Sita, Ha Lakshmana was heard, Sita immediately got very worried. And she said that I should immediately go and fetch you. She thought that you are in trouble and she asked me to leave immediately. She was compelling me. But then I told her in various ways that she should have confidence in you, that nothing can happen to Ram. And I also told her it is a demon and the demon is just trying to create some panic. So I cannot leave her. And Sita said that this is Ram who's calling out and he's in great trouble. And you are simply spending time here. You're just giving some flimsy reasons, saying that it is a demon and Ram is capable of taking care of himself. So don't give me these silly reasons that Ram is indefeatable and he's like Indra and so on. And finally, Vaidehi, after saying that I'm just giving silly reasons, she told me that you are staying back here instead of attending to your brother because you and Bharata have made arrangements because you want to enjoy me. That is the words that Sita said. And because of that, you are staying back. And Bharat is also a part of this entire scheme. Okay. So like that, she spoke such words. And immediately that really struck my heart. And I couldn't even stand there after that. And Ram, when he heard this, that Sita spoke very, very harsh words. And she told, because of intense desire for me, you and Bharat have made arrangements like this. And that's why you're staying back. Then Lakshman said that he had to leave. Mataji, so horrible. Keep getting these. Sorry,
Mataji.
nothing. Just I was just getting a lot of messages, and it was diverting my attention. Sorry for that. Okay, so yeah, so Sita said, okay. So Sita said that only because you had desire for me and you wanted to somehow have me with you, that is the reason you're not going to see Ram. At that time, I had to come back. I had to come and see you. So at that time, Ramachandra, he tells, oh, Saumitri, whatever you did was wrong. You should know very well that I'm capable of taking care of myself and I can kill all the demons. Even though Maithili spoke angry words towards you, even though she spoke terrible words towards you, still you shouldn't have left her. You could have stayed somewhere close by. You could have stayed somewhere close by, and you could have guarded her. Even if she asked you to go, you shouldn't have left that entire place and come all the way in so much distance. Rather, you could have stayed nearby and watched over here. This action of yours is not correct and it is not pleasing to me also. It is a very, very wrong decision. So like this, Ramachandra and Lakshman, they were talking. And Ram said that this voice that was heard, it was only a mimicry that was done by a demon. So for this sake, you have forsaken Maithili and you have come here. And Ram was very, very worried. He said this was a wrong decision. And he quickly went along with Sita, along with the Lakshman to go near the ashram. And he went near the ashram. he saw that the house was lusterless. There was nobody, there was no sign of anyone there. The ashram was devoid of Sita. It was lacking luster. He went around to check inside the ashram if Sita was there. He couldn't find Sita. Then he went into the woods to see if Sita was present somewhere, but he couldn't find Sita anywhere. And then he started crying and he was looking at all the symptoms around that place. It appeared that all the birds were weeping and the cottage where they were, it looked without any luster. So he could understand that something had happened. He observed very carefully and he saw that the mats on which they were sitting down was all torn apart. So it appeared that somebody had come and captured Sita and taken her away. And he could see that in the forest also, the area around that place appeared that there were flowers strewn everywhere and everything looked very disturbed. So, thinking like this, Ram, he was very worried and he was trying to convince himself maybe it is not a demon. Maybe Sita has just gone somewhere nearby. So he was thinking maybe she's just gone to the river to get some water. Maybe she's just gone to pick some flowers. So, like this, he went from one place to the other. He went from one tree to the other, from one shrub to the other, from one hillock to the other. And then he saw the Kadamba trees and he went and looked at the Kadamba flowers. And he said, Sita, are you there? Are you hiding behind that place? And then he went near the Arjuna trees, the Tilaka trees, and the Kinkara trees, the mango trees. And he was asking the flowers and the trees, oh, have you seen Sita? Have you seen Sita? And he saw a beautiful plantain tree and he thought, oh, Sita, are you hiding behind that? And he was going like this from one place to the other, looking out for Sita very, very restlessly. And he saw everything was vacant. And he saw the leaf mats were all torn apart. And he got very, very scared. Again, he came inside the ashram and he started suspecting maybe she has just not gone to pick some flowers. Maybe she has just not gone to get water. Maybe really a demon has taken her. Maybe a demon has actually eaten her up. So he was thinking like that in his mind and he started lamenting. He said, oh, Lakshman, I cannot live without Sita. I'm engulfed with this anguish. Sita has been abducted. And he says, what will I do now? How will I face Dashrath? Because Sita has been abducted, I will die. And when I die, I go to the heavenly planets and I see Dashrath. Won't Dashrath scold me? Won't he rebuke me? Won't he tell me you couldn't take care of your wife? I sent you for 14 years to exile and you didn't even complete the 14 years of exile. My father will be scolding me in various ways. And he said, Lakshmana, this where is Maithili? Is she in the woods? Is she fascinated by the woods? Or is she taken away by a demon? What really happened to her? So at that time, Lakshman, he tells, actually, nothing would have happened to Maithili. She must have just been fascinated by the woodlands because from time to time she just likes to go around to see some beautiful places. So maybe she's just gone there. Let's go and quickly find her. So they went and they started searching everywhere. And the search went on for a very long time. They went to rivers, they went to lakes, they went to mountains. They looked at different places, but in no place they could find Vaidehi. And Ram was shrieking and he was calling out, hey Sita, hey Sita. His throat was drying up. He was not able to see Sita anywhere. And he was lamenting. He was telling, oh Sita, you're so fond of garlands. So are you hiding behind Ashoka trees? I see these banana stalks there and your thighs are like banana stalks. Are you hiding there? So like that, he was in complete lamentation and separation from Sita. And he was thinking, how will I ever go back to Ayodhya without Sita? And like this, he went around from one place to other. He was asking about Sita. Have you seen Sita? He was asking the trees, the flowers, the animals. He was asking everybody. And finally, he looked at Lakshman and he said, Lakshman, I think you can go back to Ayodhya. I'm going to just stay here. I can never, ever go back to Ayodhya without Sita. I will die here without Sita. And he say, I authorize you to be with Bharata, and I authorize Bharata to reign let him continue to rule Ayodhya forever. You go and inform everybody about the detail of that Sita is no more, and because of Sita, even I am also going to die. Go and tell our mothers that, and carry the news. You become the news bearer. Go tell them we both are dead and we are gone forever. So like this, Raghava was very, very dejected. He went and searched in every nook and corner of the forest. He was asking the plants, the trees, the rivers, have you seen Sita? Have you seen Sita? Just like how the gopis of Vrindavan, in the absence of Krishna, they would go to every tree, every river, every mountain, and they would go and ask, have you seen Krishna? Like that, Ramachandra, in so much pain, he was bewildered, and he was going and asking every animal, the deer, the elephant, whatever came by, he was asking, did you see Sita? Did you see Sita? So he was very, very frantic at this point in time, and he was completely distraught. And he was thinking, I'm such a sinful person. Ramchandra is thinking, I have definitely committed a lot of sins in my previous births. And it is because, as a result of all these sins, that I am suffering today without Sita. First of all, I'm deprived of the kingdom. I was sent to the forest, and now I'm deprived. Then I was deprived of my father. Then now I'm deprived of my Sita also. So how many setbacks can I handle in life? So he was thinking like this, and he's thinking, did someone really come and abduct my Sita away? Was it a demon? What is this? And then he shows a stone and he says, Lakshmana, Sita used to sit on the stone, and Sita and myself, we would admire the beauty of this place. She would smile so beautifully, and we would talk, and we could exchange so many beautiful words. But today she's not there. Then he runs towards the Godavari river, and he asks Godavari, Godavari, did you see Sita? Where did Sita go? Did a demon kidnap Sita? Then there was no answer from Godavari. Godavari ran away in fear, it is mentioned. She did not even answer Rama because she was fearful of Ravan. Though Sita told Godavari, Mother Godavari, if Ram comes and asks, tell that the demon has taken me. Still, Godavari ran away in fear. Then he goes to different forest creatures and he asks all the different forest creatures, do you know where Sita is? And there was no answer. So like this, he was lamenting and he said, see, I'm distanced from all my relatives. And I thought only Sita will be with me. But that princess, she is gone now. She is not there anywhere. And he then ran behind many animals and he started asking them very seriously, in different sign languages, asking, did you see Sita? Did you see Sita? Then looking at Rama, some of the animals at this point in time in this area, what they did was they started raising their feet and they started walking, they started pushing their face forward and they were looking back at Ram, asking him to follow. And they started running, asking Ram to run behind them. And then they would stop, they would look back, and they would ask Ram to follow, just like sometimes dogs do, right? So like that, they were indicating to Ram that follow me, I can tell you where Sita is. So these animals, they were moving in the southerly direction. They were going towards the south. And they were looking back if Ram was following, and they were, moving their heads and their toes, and they were trying to move in the southern direction. So at that time, Lakshman, looking at the behavior of the animals, he said, I think Sita has been taken in the southern direction, and these animals are trying to show us how to move forward, how to find Sita. So that was the indication they got. And as they moved southward, and they were discussing within themselves what to do, where is Sita, where is Sita? While they were talking like that, they saw many flowers were fallen on the ground. Okay, there was a drizzle of flowers that was fallen. And Ram and Lakshman, when they saw these flowers, they got very anguished. They thought, these flowers, it seems very familiar. Ram went close to those flowers and he said, I know these flowers. I gave them to Vaidehi today, and she had put it in her bun. These are the flowers I brought from the mountain nearby. And this is definitely fallen off from Sita's hair. And he looked around, and River Godavari was flowing, and he took a weapon And he said, if Godavari Devi is not going to tell me where Sita is right now, I will dry her eye. So then Ram was very infuriated, and he again looked back, and on the ground where the flowers were fallen, nearby he saw huge footprints of a demon. That was none other than the footprints of Ravana. So he ran towards those footprints and he showed that to Lakshman and he said, Lakshman, look at these very heavy footprints that are here. Definitely there has been a demon here. And there are more footprints. It appears that two demons have been fighting and they have taken away Sita. Maybe they were fighting for Sita and one of the demons has taken away Sita. And then he started seeing jewelry. There were beads of jewelry and bits of garlands fallen here and there. So he said, whoa, Lakshman, look at this. This belongs to Sita. She was wearing this garland and these jewelry, this is definitely Sita. So it appears that some demon has come and he has tried to meddle with her. And then he looked around further and he saw droplets of blood. And he thought, oh, there is so much blood strewn everywhere because this was the blood of Jatayu. So when he saw that blood, he was thinking, it appears that one of the demons has actually eaten up Sita. So he got frenzied. He got really, really worried. And then he said, these guys changing demons, they could have ripped apart Vaidehi and they must have gluttonized her. They must have eaten her. And it appears that two demons have had a clash for Vaidehi. And then he saw the ghost-faced mules that were torn apart. And he thought, this is somebody's chariot. I see pieces of chariot that is broken here. So there has been a great war. I see quivers of arrows. I see bridle and the charioteer's head has been cut off. So definitely Sita has been abducted. Saumitri, I don't know how to find her. So like this, Ramachandra, he caught hold of Lakshmana and he went and he inspected the arrows and the quivers. And then he took up his own arrows and quivers and he said, I'm going to put an end to this entire world. So he was so angry. He said, like time personified, nobody can stand in front of me. I will destroy this entire universe with the demigods, the humans, the yakshas, rakshasas, everybody. I'm going to make this entire universe, like I'm going to burn it down. I'm going to burn down everything. So he took an arrow, a missile with which he could burn down the entire universe. And at that time, Lakshmana stops him and he says, please don't do this. You have to collect yourself, be controlled. Because of the mistake of one person, it is unapt for you to destroy the entire world. We have not clearly understood whose chariot it is. We don't know if this person has taken Sita. We don't know about what really happened. Maybe Sita is elsewhere. Maybe no demon has taken Sita. You're just seeing these symptoms and you're coming to a conclusion. We will get back Sita. So don't try to destroy the entire universe just because maybe somebody did some mistake somewhere. So like this, Saumitri, who's Lakshmana, he began to hold on to Ramachandra's feet and he told him, Ramachandra, see, don't worry, we will definitely get back Sita and there is no way that Sita can, would have died or something like that. Definitely, even if she's stolen, don't feel so bad. We will definitely get her. And who are you? You're the descendant of the Kakutstha dynasty. You think you cannot get her back? We will definitely find out who that person is and we will uproot that wrongdoer. So speaking like this, they were moving deep into the forest and there, to their anguish, they saw a terrible, huge bird and that bird was buckling on the ground and it was filled with blood. So looking at that bird from a distance, immediately Ramachandra said, this must be a demon. He's the one who has actually devoured my Vaidehi. You see him? He's covered with blood. That is the blood of Vaidehi. He has simply eaten her up. He's a demon. He's in the form of a vulture. Let's go and attack him. So immediately he takes out some arrows and taking an aim towards the demon, he was close to that huge vulture. And as you all know, that vulture was none other than Jatayu. And when he went close, that vulture stopped Ramchandra because Ramchandra was ready to shoot an arrow. And he says, "O son of Dasharath, I am Jatayu. I am not a demon." So he screams out, this Jatayu screams out. And when Ramchandra went close to him, immediately he said this very, very beautiful verse. He says, "Yam aushadhimiva ayushman अन्वेषसि महावने सा देवी मम च प्राणा रावणेन अभयं हृतम्." He begins with Ayushman. He says, he says Ayushman. That means, Rama, may you live long. Why does he begin addressing Ramachandra as Ayushman, live long? Because he was about to break a terrible news. He was so scared how Ramchandra will react to that news. So first he said, "May you live long. Oh boy Rama, may you live long." Ayushman. So just like a fatherly person, he wanted to ensure that this Ram is able to handle the terrible news that he was going to give. So he said, "Oh boy Ram, may you live long. For whom you are searching in this entire forest, like how one searches a herb. When you're searching for a herb, you go and you start looking very carefully, right? So like that, you seem to be searching in this entire forest for someone, like how one searches a herb. That person has been stolen by Ravana along with my life." So it's very difficult to translate this Sanskrit verse, but some key points in this verse is that first and foremost thing, he says, "Ayushman, may you live long, because I'm going to give you a terrible news. Sa Devi mamacha prana ravanena abhayam pratam." So this Ravana, who's a performer of great deeds, what he did was, he took away Sadevi, that lady, and Mama Prana, and my life. He just took away both at one shot. That's what Jatayu is telling. And he says that that lady has been taken away by Ravana, and I saw that, and I tried to save Sita, and we had a huge combat. And the chariot that you must have seen in a distance, the broken chariot that belonged to Ravana, I felled the charioteer, I killed the mules, and I tried to stop Ravan in various ways. I even plucked off his hands. And the great fight was between the two of us. The fragmented bow that you must have seen, that also belonged to Ravana, and that was taken off by me. But then I tried to save Sita in various ways. But finally, see, this Ravan, he cut off my wings and he rendered me motionless, and I am about to die now. So when Ramachandra heard this entire story, he was so overcome with emotion. He embraced Jatayu and he started crying. And he said, "Oh, this Jatayu, he's about to give his life just for us." And he was feeling so bad for Jatayu's condition. And at that time, he asked Jatayu, "What happened? Who's this person? And what is the reason for Ravana stealing away Mother Sita? Why did he take her away? Who is he? What kind of demon is he? What is his form? What are his strategies? Tell me everything that you know." And then at that time, Jatayu says that, "Rama, that person who just took away your wife, he is a very, very ferocious demon by the name Ravana. He lives southward and he took away your wife in the southern direction. He took away your wife during the time period called as Vinda. The period when he stole your wife, that period is called as Vinda. Vinda is also called as Vijaya. It's a muhurta of the day. Whatever has been stolen during that period of the day will return back without any change. That is, no change will happen to that property. It will come back as it is. That is the nature of the Vinda Muhurta. So Sita Devi was taken away during the Vinda Muhurta, and she will return back to you without any change in her. So you can be assured of it. And this Ravana, he is going to ruin himself, just like how a fish swallows a baited fish hook. He's going to ruin himself, and that is determined because of the Muhurta in which he has taken away your wife. And he's the son of Vishrava. He is the brother of Kuvera. And very soon you can go and you can find him in the southern direction. Saying this, after revealing who it is, after revealing the fact that very soon she will be returned, Jatayu gives up his life. So we'll stop here, and I'm very sorry for the disturbances. I couldn't focus at that time, but thank you for your attention. We went 15 minutes over time, but that's the only way we can finish next week.
That's good, Mataji. Thank you so much, Preethi Vilasini Mataji. Class was definitely very painful and so sad. One horrifying tale after the next, right? First of all, Sita starts accusing Lakshmana, and then Jatayu being attacked so mercilessly. That was horrible. And then how Ravana is torturing Sita over there. So yeah, a very sorrowful section of the Ramayana, Mataji. But thank you so much for presenting it in such an interesting way too, and sharing all the details. And thank you. Really appreciate it. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. If anybody has any questions or realizations, please go ahead. Mataji, do you have time? Okay. Hare Krishna, Prahladanand Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. I just have one small query about the curse which was on Ravana, that he could not, rape a woman like that. So, can you give little details about that?
He was cursed by many women. In Uttarakhand, which we will study in detail, all the women that he misbehaved with and the different curses he received is mentioned. He has many curses. One of the curse that he receives from Nalakuvara is that when he misbehaved with Ramba, he received a curse that next time he touches a woman, his head would splinter into 1,000 pieces. And then, of course, later, this Vedavati, she also curses him. So like that, like 3-4 curses from different women he gets. And Nandishwara curses him. So like that. Yeah, the list of curses is actually one chapter in the Uttarakhand. We will go through that.
Okay. Thank you, Mata.
Hemangi Gopeshwari Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, very nice but sad kind of story today. But will the story of Vedvati be told during this? Okay, well, I'll wait for that one then.
That is in Uttarakhand, Mataji. It will take a long time. Next year you'll hear.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm just curious.
Actually, it's one of my favorite sections of the Ramayana because everything will come together once you hear Uttarakhand. You'll understand reasons why many things happened in a particular way, and there is a closure to all the events. Somehow, I feel if you just end with Uttarakhand, you'll never get a closure to the Ramayana. You should know, right? Everything, all the missing pieces in the jigsaw puzzle will come together when we hear that. Yes.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
May I ask another, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
See, Lord Rama was so mad because of losing Sita Mata. But when Parvati or Sati, she came in front of Lord Rama in dress of Sita, he could immediately find out that this is not real Sita. Like that, that's a story like that.
I know I've heard some, but I've never seen a reference, so I don't know. Maybe it's told. Yeah, I don't know from where.
I have heard that Lord Shiva and Parvati, they went to Agastya, Kumbhaji Rishi, to hear Ramayana, and when they were coming back, the katha was actually going on, and Lord Rama was looking for Sita like what you described, and Sita said, and then Shankar Bhagavan said, "Hey, Jagavandhan Satchidanand," like that. Then Sati says, "No, you are bound down to somebody who is looking for his wife and crying like this." I said, "How can he be Satchidanand?" He says, "No, he is like that." Then I want to go and taste. So Sati goes to taste Lord Rama in the form of Sita. And as soon as she approaches Lord Rama at that time, Lord Rama says, "Oh mother, why are you alone? That is my father, Lord Shiva," like that. And then she immediately returned. And when Lord Shiva came to know, because of his all-knowing, he said that from today I'm because you became my mother, so how can you sit with me now? So he abandoned her. This kind of story I've heard. I don't know how
Yes,
authentic
even
all
I've
this is,
heard
but
from some people say, but yeah, we don't.
Even I have heard this, Mataji. This story, even I have heard.
and all this, so some Ramayana Kathakars, they tell it very interestingly. Like, thank you very much, Mother. So,
Yes, Prabhu, yeah. But nothing in the Valmiki Ramayana. Okay. Thank you all so much, and sorry for so many disturbances. But I
No,
hope
Mataji, we didn't feel anything at all. It was a
Okay.
very smooth flow.
my narration
In
stopped.
between, in between that thought once you mentioned it, but
Yeah.
that's okay, Mataji.
I wanted to do a good job, but somehow some days just get diverted. Yeah. Okay.
You did excellent, Mataji. There was nothing you did full justice to the board section. Yeah. Hare Krishna. So
Yeah.
we'll end the call here.
Yeah. Next week
Bye.
we'll
Yes.
Aranya Kand. Okay. So I'll tell you I'll give you a trailer of what to expect next week.
Yes,
We'll have
Mataji. Something happy, please.
we'll see Jatayu, all the mokshas we'll see. We'll see Jatayu moksha first. Jatayu goes back to Godhead. Then we will see Ayomukhi is again chastised by Lakshman. We see Shabri moksha, which is very important. And finally, how Ramachandra receives directions to Rishyamukha Parvat. So we are going to see some very important turning point events about some devotees in the next class. So a lot of people are going to get liberated. So it's a good thing. And one more demon is there. Kabanda also. He also gets liberated. Yeah. So many demons are getting liberated. So many devotees are getting liberated. It's going to be a series of liberations in the next section. Okay. So it's happy. I hope I finished all of them. I know there are only like few chapters left, 10 chapters left. That's
Wow.
why I decided I will like focus and finish lots today. That way we can happily relish liberations, because once liberations come, a lot of commentaries come. So it'll take time. So hopefully we finish. Yeah.
finally,
Yes.
Mataji, one more comment. May I?
Yes.
See, you are talking about they are getting liberated, but what is our situation? You are telling us Ramayana in such a detail. Bhagavatam says, Nauttam slok vartayam justa tat kathamrutam syat sambramant kalve smartam tat padambujam. If we have done Ramayana Bhagavat like this, Bhagavan Krishna will remind us at then, and we'll have no confusion remembering his fate. This is Bhagavatam promise. So if we continue doing satsang like this, we all go back to Lord Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you for that blessing, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
Mataji, did you read all the chat messages?
Thank you all so much for your attention. Yeah. Very grateful.
We'll end the call here, Mataji. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnav Devi ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Valmiki Ramayan ki jai. Her Grace Preethi Vilasini Mataji ki
Jai.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Wonderful
Hare
discourse.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.